Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm Jared. You can call me Jardo if you want. And we're working on Advent of Code in Ruby, trying to write some silly code. So, chat, if you have silly ideas while we're doing this, I want to hear them. Let's get into this thing. Day 4. Ceres? Is that how I say that? Ceres search? Looks like the chief's not here. Next, one of the historians pulls out a device and pushes the only button on it. After a brief flash, you recognize the interior of the Ceres monitoring station. As the search for the chief continues, a small elf who lives on the station tugs on your shirt. She'd like to know if you could help her with her word search, your puzzle input. She only has to find one word, Xmas. This word search allows words to be horizontal, vertical, diagonal, written backwards, or even overlapping other words. It's a little unusual, though, as you don't merely need to find one instance of Xmas, you need to find all of them. Here are a few ways Xmas might appear, where irrelevant characters have been replaced with dot. Okay, so we can see it backwards here. We can see it going up and down over here. We can see it this way. And then we can see a diagonal across there. And I think that's all of them. So we can see actual word search will be full of letters instead. Cool. In this word search, Xmas occurs a total of 18 times. Here's the same one again where the letters not involved have been replaced with dots. Okay. Take a look at the little elf's word search. How many times does Xmas appear? So let's look at our input. Lovely. That's a big old block of X's and M's and A's and S's. All right. So, do we not count? What happened? Where were we at last time? All right, yeah, this is just our solution for day 3, part 2. Commit that, and then we can copy our template into day 4.rb and open that up. We don't need the old text file. We can create a day4.txt and put our input in it. All right. How do we want to solve this? So we read this in, we've got it as a string. We can chop it up pretty easily into like an array of arrays to look at it. We do have to look at it forwards and backwards. One option would be to iterate through it, and every time we find an X, look in every direction to figure out if there's a Xmas in that direction, which seems like the intuitive way to do this. That might be what I do. Yeah, let's start with that. And sort of keeping in the theme of what we did for, I think it was day 3? No, not day 3. Day 3 was the one where we were evaling things. Day 2, where we implemented reports and problem dampeners, kind of domain-driven designing our silly Christmas-themed domain here. I think we'll implement a word search. So what they try and use the same naming. Word search, yeah. Let's implement a word search class, and I don't know what's the API we want for this thing to have. Word search new. Seems my solutions seem way too novel for Advent of Code. We're trying to have fun here, Marco. We got solving them. I recorded an episode of Dead Code today with some people who are all doing Advent of Code, and that'll come out next week. And we were talking about how just the like pure algorithmic solutions, they don't, there's nothing wrong with them. If you like doing that, that's fine. But I think they don't spark joy in me. If I wanted to do those kind of things, there are lots of more less flavorful programming puzzles out there to be working on. My Marie Kondo. All right. So we initialize this thing with the text. We want to count words. And so I guess we probably just want to take the text. I don't even know what to call this variable. It's like it's going to be an array of arrays containing the text. We can split it on lines and then map that through splitting it. Strip any white space. That's probably what we want. So let's just run that and make sure that we get as far as that debugger call. We do, and does word search contain what we think it should contain? Array of arrays containing, each one is a line. So if we're indexing this thing, we have to remember if we want 0, 0 to be the top left corner and 1, 0 to be one to the next one after that, we have to flip those x and y coordinates or transpose this. I guess we just transpose it. Doesn't really matter. Oh. That transpose thing is nice. So we can quit that. Sure, let's transpose it. We've been doing a lot of transposing so far in the puzzles this year, and I don't expect that to stop. I feel like it's a kind of like annoying thing to have to do manually, but so nice. Though Marco already, I think it was Marco, you suggested on Blue Sky that I don't use array instance methods, and I think that's a fun challenge. I'll have to do that for one of these. I don't think I'll do that one today, but I like that idea. All right. So count word. Is this thing a square? Did we look at that? What's the easiest way to tell that? 140, 140. Yeah, so it is a square. It's 140 by 140 square. So we know that, so we can just start at, yes, probably just super annoying. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a fun challenge. I wouldn't want to do it for one where I need a lot of them, but I could, not as annoying as Tim suggested that I only use my left hand, in which like that doesn't even sound difficult. That just sounds very annoying. So we've got our word search, and we need to iterate over. But we kind of want to iterate over it. I guess iteration order doesn't even really matter. So this is now the columns that we would be iterating over at this point. So this is the x coordinate, and or not the x coordinate. It's the actual row or column. And then what am I doing here? Forgetting how to iterate over nested arrays. Column. Each do, and this will be a character. I guess I probably want the indexes because I'm going to need to look up all of the other characters relative to each one. So this will be the X, this will be the Y, I believe is correct. And then I know I'm provided with the character here, but I kind of want to give myself an API for looking up the individual characters of this thing. What do I want to do? I was gonna, should we just implement square brackets on this thing? It's totally unnecessary, but we're trying to have fun here, right? So we can do XY, and yeah, there we go. Very necessary indeed. We're doing it. So this means that we want to handle boundary cases here. So one of the things we want to be able to do is make sure that if we roll off the edges, we don't blow up, so that we don't have to care about that in the code that is actually looking for the words. And then that also means that if part 2 requires that we support rolling off the edges, if that's maybe the gotcha, that should make it pretty easy for us to handle that here. I don't know. I have kept myself away from any spoilers, but that could be a thing. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna say raise oops so I'm going to raise an error. I'm just going to sort of to validate that the thing I'm writing is correct here. I'm just going to do that. So that's or in fact, I'm not even going to raise. I'm just going to invoke my debugger. And so that should give us a way to test. Like, it should be nil, so this should fail. Currently, we get there, we see that self xy is nil, we see that char is an s, and we can quit out of that and double check that the first character in this whole thing is an s, and it is. So no assumptions broken yet. So we need to, so the naive thing to do is to, we did the transpose, so this should be correct. But that'll blow up on edge cases if we go off the boundaries. Now I'm curious, can I do this? Does this work? Does anyone know? Can I just dig at arrays? I guess we'll find out. So, oh, this is returning. This is returning the value. The enumerator or whatever. I can. Cool. All right. Yeah, I'd never done that before, but Casper says so. All right. Yeah. All right. So this would works, and right. That's that, but it's looping around off the back, which is not what I want. But it does the right thing off the front. So that is going to be a problem, because while the negative indexing thing is useful, what do we want to, how do we want to handle that? I guess if we just you can mix and match arrays and hashes with dig too. That's awesome. That's I feel like I've probably done that at some point. Yeah. All right, so we can just return, we can say return nil, or just return, we don't have to make it explicit, if x dot negative or y dot negative, so we avoid the negative indexing thing, and then going off the end just gets us nils anyway. So I think that kind of handles everything we need. The fact that I've parameterized the word Xmas makes this slightly more annoying to write. But not that much more. So I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so we're here now, and we want to count the Xmas's. So we want to say if char is, I'm going to make this letters equals word split equals letters dot first, or I'll say next unless char equals letters dot first. So we know that this is not a starting point for an Xmas if it doesn't start with an X. That's pretty straightforward. So now we start counting different directions. And I guess we have to keep a count. Normally I'd want to reach for sum here, which is just kind of annoying to do because of the each with indexes. Like we, unless, does this work? Like, okay, so this would, this should count all the X's in the text, right? If it does what I would expect it to do. That's conceivably correct. Okay. 140 is 19,000. So this having 3,700 X's in it seems totally plausible. So that seems like it is doing what we want it to do. So then we have to count each direction. And how do we model that? Because we basically want to say, word up. I guess I could pass it in letters. It'll be more useful. I don't know, this sum equals 0, and then sum plus equals 1 if word up. Oh. And then there's what? 8 different directions. Oh, but we can parameterize this. We don't actually have to do this terrible thing I'm doing. Word, I don't even know what to call this method. So we can loop over. So basically we can, we can, I wonder if this down matrix would help here. I'm curious what you're suggesting, because Ruby matrix, column count, column size, rows, create a matrix, argument is a row. I mean, we could put it in a matrix. You're right. I don't know if create the matrix for the diagonals or what. Does it make the lookup any easier for us? don't know if I don't see anything that's super helpful here. We absolutely could use it. Maybe I'll think about it when we see this set part 2. Because what I'm thinking is if we want to look left, then we're going to need to iterate on the characters from the current position, going 1 forward in the x-axis and 0 in the y-axis. And say the diagonal up right is 1, 1, and going up is 0, 1, and going left is -1, 1, and sorry, up and left, and then -1, 0, and -1, -1, and am I doing this right? -1, -1 is down left, and then 0, -1 is straight down, and then 1, no, 1, -1 is down right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all directions? Yeah, I think I did that right. So we can just actually skip all this. Yeah, I wanted to skip manually summing this thing. And this will be dx and dy, so like the delta x, delta y. Oh, I forgot my do, that's why it's yeah, okay. And then we need to say if word in direction question, I'm open to suggestions on better names for that. Letters x, y, dx, dy, then 1, else 0. And it's painfully apparent that my Ruby LSP is not running in formatting code for me, which I should fix one of these days. I like stream on a separate user that doesn't have lots of things set up, just so that I don't accidentally show production code. Lumpy space, the language server protocol. The wonderful thing that the folks at Shopify have built for us that shows me nice errors in my editor and formats, and I can run my formatter through it on save. I like Lumpy Space Princess better though. Do you even care about the negative offsets? Well, it did say I think the puzzle said we can go backwards, didn't it? Diagonal written backwards or overlapping other words. Yeah, so we do need those negative offsets to walk backwards, because we need, basically, if we find an x, the xmas can be in any direction from it. So we do care about those, I think. Right, and so then we just have to do the hard part. Implement word in direction. And we could even skip this check here, because we could have word in direction basically do this work for us, because kind of naively it's going to. But then we would still be checking 8 times and just bailing out every time, being like, this is still not an X. So I'm not going to do that. So this needs to iterate over the letters of this word, and it needs to ensure that for all of the letters in this word, the each with index, because we need the index here. That x plus dx times index y plus dy times index is equal to letter. Is that right? So we step in each direction that many times. So the first letter is going to be x, and when the index is going to be 0, and we're going to say x plus dx times index, which is going to be 0, and y plus dy times index is going to be 0. And then in subsequent ones, we step that many times if there's a 0 in that field. Yeah, I think that seems like it works to me. I guess I wouldn't have written it if it didn't seem right to me, but let's see if that's the right answer. Not the right answer. My answer is too high. If you're stuck, make sure you're using the full input data. There are some general tips on the about page. Okay. 29. I mean, that makes sense that would be too high, because that's, like I said, there's only 19,000 letters in this entire thing. So the fact that this gave me a number that's 29,592 means that there are more Xmas's than there are letters in the entire thing. So that's not right, but that's interesting. Am I counting letters or occurrences? I think I'm counting occurrences, because so this checks that all of the letters match, and it does it for each letter, but it's a call to all, so it's just returning true or false. And then so this word indirection returns true or false, and then we get a 1 if it's true or a 0 if it's false. I'm going to put a binding.break inside of this check, because since we're counting too many by quite a large margin, are you doing it for every character? I'm doing it. I mean, I'm checking I'm starting at every X in the puzzle and looking in all directions to see if it spells Xmas in that direction. We're skipping any that are not X's using this little short circuit here. I believe that's right. So letters should be the letters Xmas. X here is going to be, so that's interesting. 11. Okay, so 11. There is the smaller input, and we could test against it. That's not a bad idea. But we're already in the editor here, so that's interesting. The first time we detect an Xmas is from going up. Or sorry, no, that's down. I was mistaken. I have coordinates in your head is hard. That's let's just drop our font size, or maybe turn wrapping off. Oh, there we go. That fits. So 0. I think it's this one going X. No. Okay, now I'm confused. So let's try and debug this thing. So is this right? So the letter X, so self XY, that's going to be an x, and then plus dx times 1 plus dy times 1 is an m. Okay, so we do appear to be correctly picking up an xmas here. Just trying to make sure I have the right one here. So it's this one, xmas. Okay. It is in fact this one, this one, this one, this one that we're detecting, and that's valid. That is an xmas on a diagonal. Fine. No problems with that. I am going to continue. Oh, no, that's not how you continue. Still used to using pry. Let's see where we are now. X, Y. Oh, but this is going to be a different direction. Okay, and this is telling me that there is an xmas going the other direction. No, there's not. Dx. Oh, x means forward. Y means negative. Negative y means up. That can't be true because we're at the top. Okay, so we've obviously got a bug here. That's weird. At least we've detected it on the second iteration. So getting into the state, dx dy, and so that's not going to be, it's going to be something in here. X dx, y, y. And we're checking negatives. Or, I'm confused. Oh, this is x0, y11. The previous one was x. Oh, we must have xy swapped. How do we do that? I thought I fixed the xy swapping. Because 11, that's so this is this row. It's the first one. But that's not even an x. So where are my xy flipped? Is that? Oh, it's because it's here. Column. Oh, these ones are tricky to think through. So each with index sum. So let's back out of this. I think we're just parameterized this wrong or something. I just accidentally closed my text editor. All right. Break. All right. So let's exit out of this. Each line is going to be the y. Each column is. Yeah, I do. I agree. But I transposed this, which made me think that I had fixed this so that each. Because like I know, yeah, if I naively just split it into lines and then split up those lines, I get rows, ones where each row is, and so but I've reversed this, have I not? All right, so word search first. nice long thing here, is SMMSA. And let's just compare that to the input, SMMSA. Correct. So this is a column, which means that this is our x coordinate. Yeah. And then that seems right. But then this is doing the wrong thing. But it's an array where the x. Why am I so messed up on this? 0, 0 is right. 0, 1. That's right. These are the right values. Doesn't it have to be yx? No, because like you can see, I'm getting the expected values here. SMMMS is SMMMS. I'm iterating across the y-axis here, so I'm getting the right values there. It's so this is working. Yeah. So then how did I? So in here we end up with x and y flipped somehow. So a column represents an x value, yes. Character within it represents the y. Yeah, that's right. Uh-oh. Day 4, we're already getting mixed up. So I'm gonna continue. And so we get here, and we have self x, y. And that is the value at 0 and 11. And 0 and 11 is, no! I'm so confused. That's definitely yx. What the hell is going on? Did we do 0, 0 is s. 0, 1. This is working. What is with 0, 11? Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Oh, I did the math. I off by 1. Because the line numbers are 1 higher, and I went the wrong direction. Oh, that's tough. All right, so we can see what we originally detected correctly off of something over there that was wrong was XMAS is here, and so we should expect dx to be 1 and dy to be 1. Okay. We're back. All right, and then x, here, I'm just gonna x, y, dx, dy, just to get a lay of the land, so we're in the same spot. But now it's saying that if we go backwards, XMAS, okay, so that is also totally valid. Nothing wrong with that. We're not miscounting. Another one, 025. This is reading straight down. 25 is 26, XMS. So this is valid. That's interesting. So 47 reading down and right. So go line 48 XMAS. Yeah, no, these are all valid. 4810 means 49. Yep, that's that one. Which makes me think we have a edge case or something that's not being handled, because I am going to get tired of doing this. Okay, so let's try one that's 117. So that is 18. This is this one, and it's reading upwards. Xmas. Yeah, so those are valid. Those are all valid. Why? These are all. Does anyone know in the debug gem how to just like disable it? Like do the equivalent of what disable pry does? Just let the program run to completion. I guess not. This is very confusing because that all seems good. So I guess maybe we could validate on the test input. So maybe that's the next thing to do. I'll exit quits the whole program. Continue continues X. I want like continue, but also if we hit any more breakpoints, ignore them. But that's fine. So just double checking. I'm just gonna run this one more time. Yeah, we're still getting 29,592, which is a really interesting number. Oh, hello. We were calling count instead of sum there. There we go. That's one of those thinking too hard, thinking the problem is more subtle than it is. All right, there we go. So the problem was that I was calling count here, which expects a true false, which we can even simplify this down to this. Yes, we did it. Found the dumb bug that I introduced. There we go. So love that. That's the right answer. Let's commit it. Didn't do anything too weird yet, though. I really we gotta ramp it up here. Day 4, part 1. All right, let's get into part 2 and see if we can see what happens here. The elf looks quizzically at you. Did you misunderstand the assignment? Looking for the instructions, you flip over the word search to find that this isn't actually an Xmas puzzle. It's an X-MES puzzle in which you're supposed to find 2 MAS in the shape of an X. One way to achieve that is like this. Irrelevant characters have been replaced with dot in the above diagram. Within the X, each MAS can be written forward or backward. Here's the same example from before, but this time all the Xmas's have been kept instead. So this shows us that the MAS can go any direction. So we have MAS, 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 MAS. Those ones are all upwards, but we have ones where the M's were going down in that way. And I'm sure we have some other ones. So yeah, that's an upwards one. That's a downwards one. see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is this one? Oh, and that's the down 9. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I can think of some ways to do this. One thing that we have been doing so far is that I've just been building. Yes, part 2 does always get you. Some of them are really annoying too. Like there are ones previous years where like you have to, the like naive solution is pretty easy, and then the part 2 is like we're changing the rules, and now if you don't do dynamic programming, it will take forever. Kind of the same, just start from the A's instead of the X's. Yeah, that is an option. So one thing I'm thinking of is, what if we... So I kind of like the idea of like parameterizing this. So instead of count word, it counts some kind of pattern, and then it handles us passing in a word pattern, but also handles in the other ones. That one seems a little trickier. But I don't know, that could be fun. I kind of like that. And then we could parameterize it so we could make an Xmas version and a but then all the logic goes into the actual sort of the pattern object that I'm imagining. I don't hate that though. I'm trying to think what's the most fun way to do this, because I can think of, we can just hack this up, remove the sort of left-right directions. We could even remove we could even do like count Xmas's and implement that. Do we maybe want to do that? Let's doesn't seem like the most fun way to do it, but it's like, it's not that hard, right? So def count Xmas's. I want to do a similar loop. And we want to next 0 unless char is an A. And then, I mean, we get to reuse most of our solution in this one, which is like, I don't know, kind of nice. I might spend some time refactoring it if I get to the end and my brain still works. We'll see. It's my condo building's Christmas holiday party at the end of the day today. It's like a very small condo building. There's only 12 units or something in it, so we have a little Christmas party every year. All right. So if this is an A, we want to make sure that on each diagonal there's either a S on one side and a M on the other, or vice versa. Do that for each diagonal. So I'll write that out the ugly way and then see if we can make it more, if we can make it nicer. So we want to say, or I guess we're doing a count now. We're basically just saying, because there can only be one, right? So we say, no, this is definitely not an X mass if this thing's not an A. And then we're checking if self X minus 1 Y minus 1, and that's up and to the left, equals M, and self, this is going to be such a hideous line of code, but let's do it. I keep hitting the wrong button. X plus 1, Y plus 1 is an S, or the version where that's the other way around, S and M, and that's all one condition, so that needs to be true, and the other diagonal, which I'm going to copy paste and inevitably screw up, is the way we do this. So that's X plus 1, Y minus 1, and X minus 1, Y plus 1. Did I do that right? X minus 1, Y plus, yes. And we just got to make sure we do that the same on the other side. Hideous line of code. I would be very sad if I encountered that in my day-to-day work, but it might work. We got it. Okay, so that's a solution. I don't love it though. This does not spark joy in me. Yeah. I mean, this is how solutions look if you kind of just, think of something that would work. I feel like we could do a little better. I want to like implement a count that takes some kind of object and that describes like a pattern and returns the number of occurrences anchored at that point. Oh yeah, if you aim for top 100, one of my friends is very good at these, and when he does them, frequently ends up on that in that top 100. Yeah, I don't think I've ever ended up on the leaderboard, but I'm often just streaming, and I'm not dropping in at 9 p.m. my time to start the problem. Okay, I'm gonna commit this, but for anyone who wants to stick around, I'm gonna say we gotta refactor this to make this more fun. I find this not adequately fun. All right, day 4, part 2. Marco, what year did you get on the leaderboard? I haven't done these since 2021, maybe. I think it was the last time I streamed. You can check that the sum of the corner chars is, that's clever. Yeah, 2019 and 2020. Yeah, for some reason I had a lot of time in 2020, so I feel like I probably wasn't doing much. Had some time to do Advent of Code. That is a really clever optimization, JWBME. That does reduce things. I might work that optimization in. So what I want to do, so we currently know that we can produce both answers like this. That gets us part 1 and part 2, and we'll just run that and confirm. Those are our part 1 and part 2 answers. So I'm going to change the API here and put some assertions in to check that we're still getting the right answers. And then we'll see where we go. So we'll say part 1 equals word search dot new input count. What am I going to call it? I'm going to call it word. Oh, my LSP suddenly started working, but the saving format on save isn't working. All right, and we're going to print these out at the end. And we're going to raise an error if they aren't correct. So raise part 1 should equal 2543 unless part 1 is 2543. 1930 unless part 2 equals 1930. Okay. So this shouldn't blow up now and tell us that we didn't even define these classes. Love that. Let's define some classes. And that's going to blow up because we didn't give it a constructor. And this is going to blow up because that method doesn't exist. I don't know what to call this parameter. Pattern? I don't know. Call it pattern. And now Xmas is also not a thing. I guess it should be Xmas like that. All right, and now we're just blowing up because we're not getting the right answers. Cool. Awesome. Now, how do we do this? So I'm going to just kind of want to write the code that I want, and then we'll see where it goes. So I mean, there's a bunch of different ways I could do this. The rotation I'm thinking is interesting. Maybe this takes multiple patterns. that then we handle the rotation as like a parameter to, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's say we want our directions here. We're actually even getting closer to not needing separate classes now. This is interesting. Now I'm actually like, maybe we don't even need these. Maybe we can write. So that we want to count a bunch of patterns, and these patterns are actually going to be. So we have these directions. I'll call this directions. I don't know. Directions map. I have this thing in Z. I don't know if anyone uses Z, where when I type the pipes on my blocks, it adds 2 of them, and I have been unable to even find anyone else on the internet reporting that same bug. I should go report it to them, but if anyone else has experienced this, please tell me. So a pattern is going to be a series of characters of a character, and yeah, weird. Yeah, I assume other Rubyists would have encountered this issue and complained about it. I'll have to dig into what's weird about my setup, because like I created a whole new user. I did copy over the config from my previous setup, so I'll dig in there and see if I can hunt down what could possibly be doing that. Maybe it's a plugin LSP. It could be. So this is going to be, or not letters, chars. I think that's the, yeah. See, just do it. And I think it only does it. No, it does it for both. Okay, well, I have like auto completing things turned off to try and narrow that down. But this is chars, each with index, map, CI, doing some nice 1-letter variables here, and each one of these will be C. We might want to turn this into not just an array at some point, but I'll do that after. C and then dx times I, dy times I. And I'm not going to worry about this for now. We're just going to, constructing the pattern for that's a little trickier. So this is a pattern, so we can get rid of this junk. Pattern takes an initializer that's going to take, I don't know what to call these, letter positions. Oh, did I? No, it's just an array. That's a terrible name. And Lumpy Space Princess, yes. Those misbehaving lumpy space princesses. Now, I mean, pattern's kind of just like a data object. It's like it's just a collection. I even think any logic goes in it. Like it could just be an array. But let's make it not an array for now. We can then so we're all the only reason this works is because there's an order to them. Because we wouldn't want to like validate. We wouldn't want to hit an X and detect that there was an S off of that, which is fine because, yeah. So this fine. This works. So we are going to do a very similar thing to what we did before. We're counting this pattern. And we want to, at each step, we want, or this, so we're going to do this for this patterns, and we are going to do patterns dot sum, not. I feel like the pipe thing wasn't happening for me earlier in this file, and now it is, which is even more confusing. Maybe that's a clue. So pattern dot, I don't know, letter positions. This is terrible naming. Well, I'm gonna do something funnier with that after, but let's leave it as that for now. And then we want to just call all, and this is going to be a character, this is like an offset. I'm going to reuse dx and dy for that, which isn't maybe not ideal, but I know I'm very aware, in case anyone's picked up on this, that I'm kind of randomly mixing do end and curly braces. Normally I do it's like semantic thing where if it's a block that returns a value, I use curly braces, and if it's a block that's being used for its side effects, I use do end. But haven't been paying much attention to that today, so that's what we got. So we want to check that each of these are true given the offset. So we want to say that self x plus dx, self y plus dy is c. Yeah, I know there was some debate around it when standard was coming into being, standard RB, about whether there should be attempts to enforce that. I think probably no. I don't think it's a real standard, but there are definitely a few people in the community who have written blog posts about it, like Avdi Grimm and stuff, that I like it. I think it's just kind of a neat distinction. I think it's a little hard to enforce even at a small organization level, but I like it. I do it in my own code. Yeah, a lot of people do curly for single line and do end for multi-line. I feel like that doesn't really add anything to the code. Like, it's fine. I have nothing against it. It's just the semantic one gives you a little bit of it lets you communicate something more, even if I'm only communicating it to myself. So that kind of looks like what this could work, at least for part one. Method all for nil, and that's because I didn't actually set this. And plus false can't be coerced into an integer. That's fair. Plus cannot be coerced into an integer. Let's because we were trying to count, or we were summing when we should be counting, the opposite of the problem we had before. Now 0 should equal 1930. Hey, that means that this does work. That's part 2 failing. So that means part 1 worked. We did it. Now I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to inline this because the directions that we're going to use for part 2 are going to be different, and having a global called that is confusing. This is now horrible looking, but I don't care. So let's do this. And now we have, we kind of want to do a rotation thing. We could do a rotation thing, or we could, maybe we'll type it out and then so it's type out the first one and then see what the transformation we need to do to get the other ones is my thinking. So this is an A at 0, 0, and then an M at -1. So how many variations are there? There's 2 ways on each one, so there's 4. Yeah, there's 4. There's just 4 of them. So like we can just write it out. And this would be, or sorry, this is an S at 1, 1. And then this, then we go the other direction. So this is, we want an M. So this is the top variation, where the M's are on the top. And the S on the bottom, which means it is -1, 1. Easy to make that, get that wrong, but that is one variation. It shouldn't blow up. Yeah, so now we're counting only the ones on the top. 480 is roughly a quarter of them, and since we said there's 4 of them, that's probably the right answer. We're probably doing this right. So to get the one where the M's are on the bottom, that means we just flip all of the y-axes. So we can do that pretty easily. That's negative. Oh boy. So that goes from negative to positive. That goes. And then to get the, so then and we actually have to rearrange them for the left. So let's say the M in the top left stays where it is. So that's that one, which means the S in the bottom right stays where it is, but then we move, we swap the positions of these, right? So this is, oh, spatial reasoning. I don't know. I've posted about this on the internet before, but this kind of stuff is tricky for me because I have aphantasia. I have no mind's eye. I can't visualize things. So this is stuff is really annoying for me to do. I'm looking to put an M on the -1 is bottom, is top left. So we want to invert the, if we want to put them on the left, we want to keep the x-axis and we just want to swap the y-axis. So that's that. And then that means we go forwards and up for the S. Whew, there we go. And logically, instead of visually, we're going to figure this one out, which means we need to swap the x-axes to get what we want. And we did it. Okay. So that's more fun. We can delete all our extra code that we don't need now. This is all junk. Cool. That's more fun. Okay, so we've got like a unified API for creating patterns and then turning them into, creating these patterns and then evaluating them against our word search. I'm happy with that. I don't think I don't feel the need to go any further with this. That's a fun enough solution. Any suggestions? Chat, anything you think I should do to this? Word indirect. Oh, no, I don't. Thank you. Yeah, that simplifies that. It makes the word search really relatively simple. It makes the pattern really simple. And then we just have to describe each kind of pattern that we're looking for and search for it, and it counts them all. It's probably not the most efficient way to do this, but I like this better. Cool. Alrighty, let's commit that and leave it there. Day 4 refactor. Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone who came out to the stream. It was great to see you, especially after getting to watch some of you stream beforehand. And I should be back working on day 5, 2:30 p.m. Pacific, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and whatever time it is, wherever Marco and Casper are tomorrow. So thanks for coming out.